Let's get some analysis on this. I'm joined by Shaina Low from Amman in Jordan. She's the communication advisor at the Norwegian Refugee Council. Thank you for being with us on the program. We've seen schools systematically targeted, killing the most vulnerable people of this war being children. Why has this become the norm of Israel's war on Gaza?
I think over the last 15 months, 14, 15 months now, we've just seen that there really are no restrictions in terms of where Israel is bombing. We've seen not only schools that are designated shelters for displaced people, but also the so-called humanitarian zone that Israel unilaterally declared being targeted with bombs. There simply is no safe place inside of Gaza after 14 and a half months of hostilities. There's no relief or no respite for the people, innocent civilians, who are just trying to survive.
And it's attacks like these, Shaina, that deteriorate the humanitarian catastrophe that we've been seeing unfold across the Gaza Strip. I mean, Israel is barely allowing any aid across the Strip, let alone the siege that we've been seeing happen in the north. It's cold, it's rainy, people need tents, they need warm spaces to live in, they need clothes, they need shoes. There are children that are walking around without any shoes. I mean, talk to us a bit about how bad the current situation is as the winter weather really sets in.
Well, we just announced this morning, as the NRC shelter cluster has found, NRC-led shelter cluster has found, that only 23% of materials needed to support displaced Palestinians this winter has been able to enter Gaza. This was after, in September, over 3 months ago, or 2.5 months ago, rather, we announced that we would need 200 truckloads of just sealing off kits, simple kits with tarpaulins, plastic sheeting, duct tape, and rope to make simple repairs to protect people from the elements. Only a fraction of that assistance has gotten in, and meanwhile, we're still seeing people continue to be displaced, particularly the 100,000 that fled North Gaza, where there's an increasingly tight siege. We've been calling on Israel for months, for over a year now, to allow for a surge of humanitarian aid to reach the people of Gaza. We've been demanding on Israel that they allow safe access not only into Gaza, but throughout Gaza so that we can reach people in need. And unfortunately, those demands have not been met. We're continuing to struggle to get basic supplies in. And meanwhile, as more and more people are getting smushed, crowded into smaller and smaller areas, often those areas are flood prone and there isn't adequate drainage, there isn't adequate flood mitigation efforts that can be made. So people are also, when the winter rains come, waking up in flooded tents, having all of the belongings that they've managed to maintain destroyed, and then they have to start all over. And again, there's no aid, very little aid coming in, not nearly enough to support all of these growing needs. It's a vicious cycle that we desperately need to break. We need to see aid entering Gaza.
Right, and I mean, we see a new chapter of this vicious cycle day by day. You mentioned that there isn't proper drainage in these areas where people are living in. Pair that with the flooding that's taking place from the rain and, the poor sanitation, plus the cold winter weather. Talk to us about the impact, the humanitarian impact on the people. What are they experiencing?
I mean, it's just, quite frankly, it's a public health crisis. You have the spread of diseases, respiratory illnesses. People cannot get warm. They cannot get dry because there's floodwaters in the sites that they are seeking shelter. And then on top of that, we have limited medical assistance entering Gaza, medicines, and other things that are needed to treat these illnesses. So things that might be a simple cold for you or me could spiral into something much worse. And then you, on top of that, have people crowded into such small areas that viruses, illnesses can spread. And then, of course, the sanitation system, which, of course, makes it much worse because there's untreated sewage water and wastewater that's being mixed with those flood waters. It's just a catastrophe. There's no other way to put it.
Okay, Shaina Low, thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour and sharing that insight with us. I appreciate it.